here we go. Come on, honey. Okay, y'all, so we are working on the field map. We've started, this is the first diagram before I even did what the beds would actually be. But this is what's going to happen. So we have right now dug this ditch, and this is going to be rock. And why we did that is to get rid of the quack grass. Then out here, we're going to have B is for barrage, C is for comfrey, and E is for echinacea. Cone flowers also is the name for that. So we're going to have those around the perimeter. Bees love barrage. They are also edible flowers. The comfrey goes very deep in the soil and brings up a lot of nutrients. So that's why we want comfrey. Coneflower, echinacea are also great pollinators, attractors. So butterflies love echinacea. And we want to make sure and bring a lot of pollinators into the garden. And then we're going to do another trench around here. And rocks again. And we're going to have our fence. Actually, my camera got blurry. But the fence, the T-posts, they're here right now, and we're going to have to move them out here. So we're going to have to move the T-posts. And that was the last video of me contemplating how we're going to do it, because I wasn't 100% on what we did before. But this is going to be really great to have our entry, our big walkway, the two rows of 2 areas where we're doing the rocks, and then these great, we don't necessarily have to do rocks right here, but it's definitely going to be either rocks or it's the walkway area. So it definitely has to be wood chips or rocks, something to fill in where we dug that out for sure. Then I'm going to lay black tarps out 4 more feet for this area and move the T-posts. So the T-posts are going to be inside of the actual rock perimeter that we have to still dig. Okay. So I did this map. But then I did the calculation of what the bed size was going to be. So that was just a mock deal. I decided I wanted 2 feet for each walkway. This is 3 feet. It's not made to scale. But here's how I did the calculation for the bed sizes. So I figured out actually if we have 27 feet times 12 inches, which we're going to convert everything to inches, just makes it simpler. So we got 324. Why am I doing it that way? And we want 3 walkways and 4 beds. I did the calculation right. We're doing walkways at 2 feet, so that's 24 inch, 24 inch, 24 inch. comes to $252. Well, this is, if we did 4 beds, this is too large of a bed. This is 5 feet, over 5 feet for each bed. So I was like, no, that's too big. Don't want to reach out all the time. It's too much strain on the body. We're going to go with, so this is where I got the 252 here, because we're keeping the walkways the same with 2 feet. But I changed it to have five beds. So we're doing, each bed is going to be a little over 4 feet. And I like that because each side, if you're here or if you're here, you can reach into the bed. Okay. But then I did another diagram because I want, and this is not to scale either, of course, but this is, shows the 10 beds. So then I have, okay, we've got 10 beds total. Ooh, my phone again. Garlic, we have that planted right here. That video is also uploaded and it's in the description. And we have a little bit extra. We have 1 more foot here in this bed that we can plant in, but the garlic actually goes all the way down. We have 4 rows of garlic. Okay, so these are the rows. This is the bed. This is the walkway here. We have 1 foot of walkway over here. We have 1 foot walkway here. That means we're taking extra space away from the outer areas actually. So these are going to be 3.2 instead of 4.2. So that is a little bit different. Then the in-between, the beds that are in the middle are all 4.2, 4 feet, 2 inches. So basically 4 feet. And again, I'm totally cool with that. A lot of times, especially when you're doing your diagram, you want to think about what you're going to bring into the area, whether it be harvest materials or tools, and that you have enough space to make it functional, that you're not having to sort of like use a lot of different tools in a lot of different areas, right? Because the tools don't work in one spot but they work in another, or that you have, harvest materials and they always have to be in the walkway because your walk paths here are not wide enough. So I didn't want that. I wanted to make sure that the space was roomy enough, and maybe even in here you could put a chair and just like enjoy the garden, right? If it were a farm, it would be a different kind of function. But this is a garden. It's going to be, yes, for growing food. So we're going to do a lot of companion planting. We're going to do maximizing our yields with the space that we have. But it's not about growing the most to produce the most because we want to sell the most. And so we do have a different function than a farm would. But we're going to do perennials here, and probably on, I don't know why, but on the outer beds is where I was like thinking of perennials. And garlic can't be in the same space. After the 4th year, it could rotate to the space it was before. So this will be year 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll rotate it here, 1, 2, 3, and then it'll go back here, 4. So it just kind of, I thought if we're rotating things, it's kind of easier to go in a square. And just remember that, instead of having all the perennials maybe over here on this side, which I guess that could happen, but I didn't have enough perennials that I actually wanted to do that. So I kind of like the idea of perennials on the outside, just maybe because along with the outer rim that we have the comfrey and barrage and echinacea, that it's just maybe a little more visually stimulating, because you always have something there when you're looking out into the garden. You're like, oh, there is my asparagus coming up, in the spring. So The next thing that I am doing is I wrote out all the different things that we were going to grow and then what we kind of wanted them for. So, of course, we're going to have our perennial beds and what are the different things that we like. Should I have a separate herb garden? I'm not sure yet. But we're going to do dehydrating, some different things. We're going to try it. I don't really dehydrate. I have a dehydrator, but I have never used it. So I'm going to try that. I don't have canning written down, which I need to write canning down because I do like canning of okra. I love pickled okra. So I really want some pickled okra. And other people that like okra, there's so many different things that gumbo and fried okra. Yes, for sure. But then I know that I need some okra definitely for canning. So it's definitely a way for me to be like, oh, well, I know I want some beets, for example. We did beets. And beets I'm using for everything though. Actually write that under canning is I like canned beets. I like to juice beets. I'm pretty sure I'm going to dehydrate beets. I'm definitely going to try it. And my goal for the dehydrating beets actually is not just like the chips, but I'm going to ground up and make powder and then put the powder in a jar and save that and add that to smoothies over winter. So then and then I also got these cups that I can put the juice in and put in the freezer. So they're like cubed 1 cup or 2 cup freezable containers. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to do that with juice. So then I can have garden juice in the winter, which sounds freaking amazing. So these are specific things that I'm going to do. And so it kind of just helps me to realize how much I need to grow of different things. So like this is a real sloppy kind of diagram right now, but beets, okay, how many things am I going to use beets for? I'm going to can, juice, dehydrate, and cook beets. So maybe I need a lot of beets. Who knows? But I'm the only one really that likes beets. So maybe I won't need that many. And 4 to 6 inches apart, the space. Are we going to do succession planting? How much do we need? They're 55 days to harvest. Probably going to put the seeds in June 1st, which means the first harvest is going to be July 20th. Here in Minnesota, it takes forever to get what you want. I feel like it takes forever. So we got beets maybe for 15 weeks. We can always do more. And I did 15 times 4 because I'm using it for 4 different purposes. Because it's just me though, we came out with 60 pounds. So then the next page here, and this is just the beginning because if you saw what I have over here with all the different crops that we're growing, right? Where'd that page go? Here, we're growing a lot of stuff, right? So, but I don't think we're going to run out of room necessarily. That's not my point. It's just that, I've only gotten 2 calculations done for all those things. So this is just the beginning, but I wanted to show y'all, this is how I am. And this is not like any rhyme or reason of why I do things this way. It just worked when I was farming and I was trying to figure out how much I needed to grow for juice, how much I needed to grow for CSA, how much I needed to grow for farmers market, how much I needed to grow for wholesale, how much I needed to grow for restaurants. I figured out a way to do some calculations and it just worked. So this is how I am going to do this garden, and this is why I'm showing y'all this way. So we know that our bed, the length of each row, I should say, row, sorry, my camera, is 43. And then we're going to change that to inches because we want to figure out the spacing. Remember, it was 4 to 6, but I'm just doing 6. And so that's 68. So say you have 68 beets per row, but not all of them are going to be like a full pound, right? So it's like, okay, I'm going to figure that it's going to be half a pound per beet. So that means one row of beets is 43 pounds. Well, our goal was 60, but I always account for crop loss, especially in a space that I've never grown before. Even though we're going to add compost, when I did the soil test, it definitely is depleted in all the nutrients, the nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. It's just, nothing showed up great. So I want to account for the crop loss for sure. And so I took 43 pounds was like the estimate here, right? Pounds. And then we go over here. Got 43 times 30%. 30% is actually 12.9, which equals to 30.1. We want 60 pounds, so that's why I did times 2. And then we know that 60 pounds will fit in 2 rows of beets. So now I know what my yield is going to be, that it matches what I wanted over here. I wanted 60. And we know how much space. So so the goals are that I want to figure out not necessarily just like when I'm planting, like my planting dates, but what am I using it for? How much I need for each thing that the purpose of what I'm growing. How many people are going to be consuming that? If it's multiple people, which we'll get to the carrots because that's multiple people. And then how much space, right? Because I'm trying to map out the next goal after I figure out all the spacing is then arranging it to make sure that everything fits, and then arranging it again to make sure everything is working together in a, because I love companion planting because it works. I've definitely seen where companion planting dill with broccoli, and the pests just left the broccoli, the flea beetles left the broccoli when the dill started coming up. I mean, it was miraculous. So I am just fully adamant that I want to find the best way, not just for the spacing, but for incorporating companion planting. All right, so then we go to carrots. And what am I going to do with the carrots? Well, I'm going to eat the carrots, I'm going to cook the carrots, and I'm going to juice the carrots. This says juice. See, it's pretty sloppy. And so this should actually be a 3, but I did 2 because I counted cooking and eating as the same. Sorry, my camera. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to see 2 different things right now. I should just focus. Focus, Kristen. So juice and then eat and cook, same, which is 2. It's not just me. It's going to actually be 3 families. And same plant dates. We're going to use carrots. Carrots, you know, there's a lot of different varieties, and some are 85 days. I'm going to use the ones that are 55 because here in Minnesota, we don't have that much time. You plant that every 2 inches is a seed. So we're going to seed that in 6/1, and 7/20 is our expected harvest date. And we're just going to do, say, 90 pounds. Now, we can always do succession planting of carrots, which is awesome. So if we figure out that we actually want more as like I'm harvesting them around July 20th, we can still plant more, just the same as the beets. So that's an amazing thing if you find that you are going through something more than you expected. If it is within the range of when you can still plant and harvest, that you're not going to lose that crop due to frost, then go ahead and seed more. And so that's a real bonus about these two crops, is that if I harvest them and I find that, oh, I actually need more, I can do that. I can do 2 plantings within the same season. But here is the calculation for the carrots, and we're doing the same thing, right? We're doing the length of a row. We're timesing by 12 to turn it into inches. We know that we want to seed every 2 inches. We're having 258 carrots a row divided by 6. Why did I do? Oh, this is a different thing about carrots. So I wanted to figure out the pounds, right? So I know that when I was farming, roughly about 6 carrots is a pound. So that's why I did the 6. And I'm glad I wrote myself that little note, because when I looked at it first, I'm like, why did I write 6? Why did I write 6? Yes, because I'm trying to guess. I want the pounds to be 90. That comes to 43, 30% for the crop loss is 30.1. That's, wow, it's the same, which is crazy. Times 3, because 3 households are going to use it, is 90 pounds. So 3 rows of carrots. And again, if we need more, when we harvest here, we can replant in that same spot if we so choose to. If there's a better spot for them, then we can certainly do that too. But that's where I'm at right now. Wanted to show y'all, and we're going to keep working on this because look at all the things that we are going to plant. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. Also, if you do your designing differently, what do you do differently? It would be super fun to learn what you're doing. And it just snowed here, you know, like 8 inches last night. So it's really fun to be thinking about gardening right now. All right, thanks for watching, and really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, keep following. I hope it was helpful, and hope to hear about your gardening ventures as well. All right, take care, everyone. Happy growing.